Uh, I'll be ready in 2 seconds.
Bless you, Jill.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ready there?
Yep.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we have two special guests that's going to be on with us, or supposed to be on with us. First, we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who is with the Escambia County Democrat Party, with the chair of the Escambia County Democrat Party. Also, Jill Lewis Dagg, who is with the Okaloosa County Democrat Party and other things that she do so many of. Also, uh, Mr. Vernon Watson, who is the owner of WBQP TV, where you'll be watching this at Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube. And Dr. Bruno, Bruno, am I saying? I don't see his Brunius. Derek.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I hope all is well and everybody's had a great week. We are going to go ahead and get started and make sure that we do so. Before we do, I want to take just a few moments while we're waiting on everybody to join us to go ahead and do our announcements. So if you don't mind, I will start with Jill.
Actually, you don't have to start with me. I was just letting you know that Senator Jones says his flight is delayed. I'm waiting for him to respond back to let me know when he's going to get in. So we can kind of move forward as you need to move forward. Don't wait on him. He'll come in as soon as he lands.
Okay. Go ahead and start, and then we'll get started.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. We are excited to be here yet again this evening. Okaloosa County, where we are working to bring everybody together to do what's right and so that we can see the bigger picture, which is what impacts all of us. We will have our next meetings in September, and hopefully we will be doing some joint meetings together. So as we go forward, we'll give you those dates and times. The NAACP, of course, is doing their half price sale for membership. So if you want information on the Okaloosa NAACP, you can reach out either to myself or you can go to Gwen Quinn. We'll get her information, or the president, Sabu Williams. And we just had Equal Ground last week. We're excited for what's going to happen now. And I think I'm going to keep it short and sweet since I see we have more people joining us. Again, we're just thankful to have the partnership that we have with Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa County, and two very, very strong DEC chairs that are in the community doing the work. And so I am just grateful, thankful to tag along beside you guys. Thank you.
Hey, BJ, do you have anything?
Just that we celebrated sending out probably about 2,000 postcards, trying to get people re-enrolled in vote by mail. And this is just the people who voted in 2024 in the presidential election for vote by mail, but did not cast a mail-in ballot for the special election. So these are probably people who were not aware that they were purged from the vote by mail enrollment rolls by DeSantis in the Florida Republican-led legislature. So we've been making it a priority to get those people re-enrolled before we start on new enrollments. So that's what we've been doing this week.
Great. Thank you for that. Just a couple of things. Mr. McIntosh, do you have anything?
Just to remind people, they can still pick up the application for scholarship for the Carol McIntosh Scholarship. Or they can call me at 850-206-3776, or they can go by Move for Change at 1603 North Davis Highway and pick up an application. Jackie Harris Preparatory School on 29 and pick up an application for the Carol McIntosh Scholarship program. That's it.
Great. Thank you. Just as we finish, just for Escambia County, just a couple things. For those who are interested, and I'll just share it as I have it. If you are interested, of course, you all know that we lost Reverend H.K. Matthews, a pioneer. His homegoing service will be this coming Friday the 29th at 8 a.m. I'm sorry, at 11 a.m. But there is a bus that is traveling from Pensacola for those who are interested. The bus will leave on Friday, August 29th at 8 a.m. sharp from Doris Healthy Hair Salon, as well as the Escambia Democratic Party at 2618 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. And it will go to Zion Fountain AME Zion Church in Brewton, Alabama. It is a $28 bus ride, and they do have 25 free seats for the first 25 who sign up. So if you are interested, please contact Ellison Bennett at 850-207-8483. Again, that is 850-207-8483. As we move on, just to know that on this weekend, there is going to be a walk the talk with Jermaine. And Jermaine, I'll let you talk about this since you're on the flyer, if you don't mind.
Oh, good evening. Man, I ain't gonna even lie, I don't know much about it, but I'm just happy to be there though. So I know we're gonna be walking the historic spots downtown in Pensacola, and I think J. Garrett Green should be on later, but I know we will be, just walking the historic downtown Pensacola and talk about, the connections that we have with the struggles we're fighting today. And, I know I'll be speaking a little bit about what's going on in Pensacola, our struggle, our fight, and, dabble a little mental health in there. So.
All right. Thank you for that. And we'll share this again when all of our partners, I know Jamil is supposed to come on with Black Voters Matter tonight, as well as Jonathan as well. So we'll skip past and come back to those. And I just want to give a special congratulations to Dondre and Caroline Wise. For those of you all who don't remember, Dondre ran in the most recent election for Florida House District 3 in the special election, which is Santa Rosa and Okaloosa County. He was the Escambia County State Committee man. He and his wife, Caroline, welcomed their baby boy, Mateo Osiris Wise, at 9:15 this morning at 6 pounds and 15 ounces. Mommy and baby are doing very well and are very healthy, and dad is doing amazing. So congratulations to the Wises on their new addition. Okay, as we move forward, we will get directly into it, and I want to make sure that we give a proper recognition to our guests that we have with us today. One in particular, as we will move forward, currently serves as our Florida State Representative for House District 13, and that is Representative Angie Nixon. She is a Jacksonville native and a graduate of my alma mater, the University of Florida Go Gators, and currently serves in our Florida House. She was the former aide to former State Representative Mia Jones, and gaining firsthand experience in the legislative process and constituent services. Her passion for community uplift led her to co-found the Melanin Market, a vibrant outdoor market space connecting small businesses with residents and promoting healthy access to food options. She also co-authored a children's book along with her daughter, The Adventures of Moxie McGriff, which celebrates natural hair and self-esteem. The book itself won the Florida One Spark competition and became a literacy tool across the state. And in 2024, she launched Cafe Resistance, a bookstore and coffee shop in Jacksonville's North Side. That space serves as a hub for local organizing, youth education, storytelling, which is centered around Black history and resistance to state censorship. After she was elected in 2020, after in defeating her incumbent, Kimberly Daniels, also in the Democratic Party, and she became known for her bold advocacy and unapologetic defense of marginalized communities. She was reelected and now represents District 13, and her legislative priorities include expanding access to healthcare, protecting voter rights, promoting economic equity, and defending accurate historical education. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome our esteemed state representative, Representative Angie Nixon. Angie, welcome.
My apologies. You're going to hear toddlers and preschoolers running in the background and a dog barking as well.
Great. So tell us, Representative Nixon, how you got to where you are? What made you run for the seat? What are you working on, and what are you currently facing in the legislative right
Yeah, for sure. So, what made me run for office? Oh, wow. I actually did not want to be a state representative. I actually wanted to try to find someone to run against an incumbent that was a member of the Democratic Party, but actually did not have the same values as members of the Democratic Party that they should have. They were anti-LGBTQ. This woman was basically for the degradation of public schools in my eyes and many others. And then also she was a Black woman who said she thanked God for slavery. If it wasn't for slavery, she'd be somewhere in Africa worshiping a tree. And so that is not the type of individual that I felt should be representative of our community. And so it was hard for me to find someone to run against her. So I decided to do it myself. I was able to unseat her, and I have been serving for 3 terms now. I'm coming up on the last year of my 3rd term. And frankly, I am an unapologetic community organizer that loves the state of Florida, that loves my country, which is why I'm critical of it. I'm constructively critical of it because I want it to be better. I feel that, you know, when you love something and you want to hold it accountable, like you can criticize it and try to work to make it better. And so that's why I decided to get involved and to run for office. I actually currently serve right now as the executive director of a statewide progressive coalition and alignment group called Florida for All, where we work with marginalized communities and work to try to build power in those areas. And I just feel as though members of the Florida legislature, even some of my colleagues on the Democratic side, I oftentimes feel as though they are not listening to, the voters, and not just the voters, but the regular everyday citizens. And so I try to have like an outstanding constituency services program, especially knowing that I am in the super minority, meaning that they don't need us to show up in Tallahassee as a Democrat. And so it is my hope that with the power that I have, like to connect people to resources and services, that I'm able to help them that way. Because right now, Tallahassee is broken. Washington is broken. We see and hear tons of rhetoric coming out of these legislative bodies, and we're not, they're not really doing the business of the people in Tallahassee, just frankly put. And, you know, that can be seen right now with the fact that they are shutting down the Everglades detention facility, or what I like to call a makeshift raggedy ass tent city. And they use upwards to 450 million taxpayer dollars for that. Now, let's be real, because at the end of the day, we know that Ron DeSantis knew this place was going to be shut down. He knew what he was doing was illegal. He knew all of these things, but instead he wanted to pad his friends and his donors pockets with no bid contracts, money from no bid contracts, and now we are left as taxpayers holding the bag. Meanwhile, we're closing schools all across the state, public schools. Meanwhile, there are thousands upon thousands of people who are unhoused and unable to afford to live, right? Unable to put a roof over their head, unable to put food on their table, and yet and still like they are now about to embark on another facility. These are people, the people that they put in these facilities, they are our neighbors. They are small business owners like the one in Jacksonville that was kidnapped because she was feeling sick at a Dollar General and started coughing and wanted to get some assistance, right? They're kidnapping them. They're kidnapping people who are construction workers. They're kidnapping people who work at senior living facilities, right? And they're lying about saying that these are the worst of the worst of the worst that are being in these facilities. And yet, and still, I'm trying to figure out my property insurance is still going up, right? Like rent is still going up. The price of groceries and gas is still going up. And so that is why I'm involved. That is what I'm working on. And though I don't necessarily wield a lot of power in Tallahassee, we do wield influence. And I'm happy to say I was able to influence a big box store that was overcharging people in the Northside community, and was able to get them to come off their prices by $3, $4, $5 an item in areas which serve working families and low income communities. And so that's the type of work that I do, right? And also like really try to uplift and raise awareness about all of the wrongs and indiscretions that are happening in Tallahassee. Take, for instance, this redistricting issue, right? We know that in 2022, they unconstitutionally removed 2 Black congressional districts here in our state. I was one of the ones, alongside Representative Travaris McCurdy, who led a peaceful sit-in and protest on the House floor to stop business as usual. Because, again, like, unfortunately, some of my colleagues, even on my side, didn't want to speak out and push back against it. And so we worked to try to raise awareness about that. And so now we got to do it again, right? Like, we're literally witnessing a man who is in the White House who stated that there may not be a need for anyone to vote for another president after him. And so I like to think of myself as a progressive voice within the legislature to really just try to push people so that we can raise awareness, and then so that we can demand what it is that we need and what we deserve.
Thank you for that.
You was talking about unhoused people. There are people being thrown in jail for being unhoused now because of orders that has come down from the Trump administration. Where do you stand here in the state of Florida on is DeSantis trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, so most definitely. So I believe it was not this past legislative session, but the session before last in 2024. Sam Garrison, who is set to be the Speaker of the House next year, if he does in fact win, not next year, but the following term, if he does in fact win re-election, they made it illegal for unhoused individuals to basically sleep on the street or live on the street in public areas, public domains. And my thing is this: if they are not putting money towards affordable housing, if they continually raid the Sadowski Affordable Housing Trust Fund, if they continually manipulate the doc stamp, which are basically when you're buying a home, there's so much money that should be going towards like affordable housing, right? If they're continually manipulating the amount of money that goes towards that to to build affordable housing, to have housing programs to allow people to purchase homes and get down payment assistance, then if you're not doing that, then you can't like make it illegal for somebody who can't afford to live somewhere. And the reality of it is that it's profitable to arrest unhoused individuals when our prisons are privatized. Or if they're not privatized, the services within our prisons are privatized, right? And if you follow the money, you'll look and see that the prisons or the services within these prisons, they donate to many of my colleagues that are in the front rows from the Republican Party. And so we as a community have to push back and let them know that and demand like that they divest from that type of thing and that they actually build affordable housing units and really put emphasis on those types of things instead of these culture war issues seek to divide us and pit us against one another. And people like we may not have the money power, the organized money that some of these more, insidious folks have, but we do in fact have people power. And we were able, right, to come together and to push back on what was happening down in the Everglades to the point where it slowed down what they were trying to do here in my neck of the woods with Camp Blanding, right? Like they were going to try to build another facility here, but we gave them like such hell and pushed back and made it really bad that slowed it down to the point where we also were able to work with some advocacy groups as well as folks like the ACLU and all of them to like push them to file a lawsuit and support them in filing a lawsuit, which got the federal judge to stop them from being able to house people down in the Everglades. Now they also, instead of being able to waste over another $450 million or so on developing Camp Blanding, they now have pivoted to try to open up a former prison facility in Baker County. Though that is still horrible, we should still count that as somewhat of a win because it's not going to be as much money. However, we still cannot like let our foot up off the pedal because at the end of the day, they are still costing us taxpayer money, which is unnecessary. And that money again could be used to make sure that we are recruiting quality teachers into our public school system, to make sure we are recruiting quality healthcare providers like the great doctor on this call today to come to our state or to remain in our state, because there's a lot of folks that are leaving because they don't feel safe like teaching, or they don't feel safe practicing health here because they feel that if they do the right thing and look after the students or look after their patients, that they will be villainized and targeted and potentially face felonies for doing their oath.
Jill, yeah.
There we go. So sorry. So I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you. So I wrote this question and I hope you just get it for what it's worth. And it's not a hard question. It's just kind of more of the heart side of you. So I know that you've built a strong reputation as both a legislator and a community advocate. How do you balance the two? And what lessons have you learned about turning grassroots concerns into actual legislative change?
Right. So it's hard, not gonna lie. However, I come from movement, I come from advocacy, and at the end of the day, all we have is community, right? Like all we have is community and all we have is family. And so even like just thinking back in the day before like Black people were even allowed to vote and that type of stuff, all they had was community. And community would show up when people were sick or needing money, like all the things. And so I am very thankful and blessed that I have my community that to step in to help me like when I'm struggling, like or I'm away from my child to help with my daughter with tutoring and that type of thing, or to take her to her music lessons or to her volleyball camps and that type of stuff, and also like my family and my husband. So it is hard, but it also like it influences everything that I do, right? Like the only people that I am beholden to are community. Um, because they put me here, because I come from them. I am not influenced by corporate interests. I am not influenced by any of that because like they don't drive me, like I don't like it doesn't matter, right? And so that influences the type of legislation that I advocate for and that I push. And let's be clear, right? So, oftentimes, as someone in the minority party or someone that is super vocal as me, they try to make it hard for you in the legislature and they try to silence you from speaking out. And so they threaten to stop you from bringing money home or they threaten to not allow you to move legislation. But the legislation that I have advocated for over the past few years that I've been there, like I don't care if my name is not on it. I want it to move, and it has moved. They have literally like taken portions of the things that I have pushed for, and they have put it into legislation. And I was so honored when the director of the Miami Early Learning Coalition came to me during one of the committees and was like, I just want to thank you for the legislation that you ran and this and that. I was like, that didn't pass. He was like, it didn't pass, but they took it and they used it and it helped us be able to ensure we paid our providers, right? And if I did not like push so much about the need for us to ensure we have early childhood education funded the way in which it should be funded, right? Like if I was not super vocal about it, if I was not organizing moms and parents and that type of stuff, that may not have ever gotten passed, right? And so I use my community, I look to my community to tell me what it is that they need, how they're hurting. And that's the type of advocacy that I push and try to work with even Republicans on the back end, like behind the scenes. Like I have Republican friends. They won't publicly say that they are, right? And let's be real, like a lot of them don't agree with what's happening right now with the rhetoric and the polarization that's happening, but they are too afraid, right, to say anything. And so they do, in fact, like put stuff in bills and run appropriations for us. And so, like, that is how my work is influenced and how I balance that.
There it goes. Yeah. There are armed guards on the streets of DC tonight. Is there the potential for them being here in the state of Florida as well?
So I would definitely say yes, right? And I would definitely look towards the areas that have Democratic mayors, and or have high populations of Black people. And so again, this is because we have a guy who's in the White House and a guy that's in the governor's mansion here. They want to silence us, right? Like they don't want us to say anything. They want us to be quiet so that can help embolden them to do more and to be harsher in what they push. And so it is going to be up to us to do what Dr. Snyder, with his book on tyranny, said, and that's disobeying in vain. And we have to be loud and unapologetic about like what it is that we need, what it is that we deserve, and what it is that we want. Like what's happening is wrong. Like they are literally working to rig an election. Like literally. Like I can't think of the words, the statement that Donald Trump stated, but basically he said he felt entitled to getting 5 more congressional seats out of Texas. You ain't entitled to nothing. The people are entitled to having their voices heard. And we can no longer allow elected officials, we can't allow those who represent us to feel that it's okay to be quiet. Meanwhile, our democracy is falling apart. Meanwhile, people are trying to save up money to get a passport so that they can leave the only country that they've ever known. We should be pissed off about that. Like, my ancestors, my great grandparents helped toil the soil in this country. And for me to, or like, to even, like, to feel as though I have to leave, to just like live my life is wrong. It's dead wrong. And we should be mad and upset about it. And that's why I'm so vocal. And that's why I am such a strong advocate of us needing to organize and to go to get offline, like to be online, to move offline, to like talk to people and to educate them about how they do have power and how this is all by design for them to make them. They've made people feel hopeless and helpless, but we're not, which is why they keep trying to change the rules. That's the only way they can win is if they cheat. And so we just got to be hip to that and like put in the work to push back against it and to really get organized and to work to win.
Jermaine, did you have a question for Representative Nix?
No, not so much of a question. I just it seems as if like the panhandle gets forgotten a lot. Um, we live in the redneck Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Dade County, Tampa, Central Florida, I lived in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is my second home. Me and you have reigned in a lot of circles. I know a lot of people have suggested we meet. We never got a chance to meet, but I was over there when Duval turned blue. That's a dream for us over here. So I just think that the panhandle gets forgotten. And sometimes what bothers me about that is, we stand in like shoulder to shoulder from what a lot of people call South Alabama, but we stand strong with the rest of the state. And when we have our own struggles, the state forgets about us. Mr. McIntosh, you pointed out about, home coming down the pipeline that homelessness may become a crime. Well, we've been dealing with that since what? Ashton Hayward put it in place.
Right.
With a ticket at $50 if you give money, and then the panhandler, as they put it, goes to jail. When it comes to um, when it comes to digging the dirt on Black people and the have-nots, the panhandle is ahead of the curve and ahead of the time of everyone around. And I just feel like, I just hope that those same people that we will come to bat for, and this is not particular to you, Andrew Nixon, Representative Nixon, but just to anybody, whether it's Dade County or whatever, don't forget that we are here because we are fighting over here. We are under siege over here.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like I said, I lived in Duval County for years. My mom lives over there. It's my second home. But it's bad over there. But compared to where we are here, I would take Jacksonville bad any day
Mm.
above this county. And I just, we just need the help of others as well. And just, don't forget that we over here.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so I would say that I was actually in Apalachicola Friday, speaking with folks in regarding like the water crisis. And you're right, the panhandle has been neglected. And as I stated to them, like I am willing to help amplify and raise awareness about like the issues that are happening over there. And so I know you have a good brother that comes from over there. He's in Jacksonville right now. So, but I think it is important for y'all to continue to doing this, and also like working to connect with other groups across the state who can help lend like the resources and that type of stuff that you all need. But you are exactly right. Like folks have neglected you all, and I'm looking forward to working on trying to erase to change that.
I think if I could, just to follow up on that, like, in addition to us being on Facebook, Representative Nixon, this is televised, so we're going all the way over to Panama City Beach. So you're getting to talk to a lot of folks who otherwise don't get to hear or from representatives. I know here in Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, pretty sure the same would be said in Okaloosa County, Joe can speak on that. But our elected representatives don't address us. So this is the only time that people will get a chance to hear from someone who is in Tallahassee. We talk a lot about the things that are happening, but you're boots on the ground to talk about what's happening. What is it for those who are, I guess, completely unaware or only hear what we tell them? From your perspective as the person on the inside, what is it that our folks need to be preparing for or can expect either from a legislative standpoint or the direction of the state of Florida is happening that we talk about, but from your perspective, they could be implemented?
So I think what we need to prepare for and what we need to organize ourselves around is that like what's happening in DC and just the overreach in regards to like government, like from the state and federal level coming to take over like local government. I have seen a concerted effort to preempt things on the local level a lot, meaning what is preemption, folks may ask, is like when the state government says that a local government can't do this and they put rules and regulations on the local government, like we're seeing a lot of that, right? And like we're seeing them come in and taking over in regards to like public education, regarding like what the permitting process, or making sure like the local government is trying to make sure that things are safe as it relates to permitting and this type of thing, and like the state saying, nah, you can't do this. And now, like you see what's going on in DC, like them taking over the local law enforcement, right? And so like we should be concerned. We need to alert people about that. And we need to like let our folks know that we gotta vote up and down the ballot, right? And like we gotta vote for people who come from community, who care about community, and who are also like, even if they are afraid, like are willing to stand up, right? But we gotta have their back, right? It's important for us to not just vote, but to hold people accountable and like to show up when the elected officials who should be on your side, like who you would think would be on your side. Like, you got to show up for them so that they know that you got their back. Because, like, it is lonely. Like, I've literally been on the House floor, standing up, speaking on an issue by myself. And like having people turn their backs on me, calling me ignorant, calling me dumb, calling me out my name, right? Like on the House floor, that is scary for some people. Some people will not do that because they don't feel like anyone has their back. And because, like, frankly, like that was upsetting. That is traumatic. And so, but again, going back to what I said earlier, like, at the end of the day, I got community. Like, I knew, like, when I left there, like, I knew people had my back. Like, immediately while I was on, like, literally while I was on the floor, I was getting text messages from all over the country and, like, from people from my home saying, you're standing up on the right side of history, right? And so, like, you gotta, like, we have to have our champions back, because there's so many targets on them, and then there's so much pressure coming from those in power trying to force them to stay silent about what's happening, because like they know that when we start speaking out, like that we can awake everyone and like we can actually push back and win, right? That's why they always trying to shake us down in Tallahassee as legislators and put pressure on us or threaten our appropriation. And so that's what I would say, like, please have our backs, because a lot of this stuff, this overreach, this governmental overreach, is about to come into play.
Just to back up for a minute, for those who maybe missed what you said, is Alligator Alcatraz concentration camp being closed? Is that what you?
Yeah. So the federal judge has stated that within the next 60 days, they issued this ruling, I believe, on Friday or Thursday, that they have to remove all detainees within the next 60 days, right? And so the state, though, of course, in all Florida ways, is filing for an appeal to that. And so, but hopefully that appeal gets like thrown out or pushed down, denied. But as it stands right now, the federal government has issued a ruling that within the next 60 days, a federal judge has issued a ruling within the next 60 days, like all of them.
They're trying to stop federal judges from issuing rulings that affect, affect the country nationwide. So this judge, he's a judge from Florida, or
this is a federal judge. I'm not sure. I think they preside over. Maybe Jamil can help me out. Regardless, this was a judge that was, I believe that they were appointed. They were appointed by a Democratic president, I believe, and so that's why they're trying to say like it's a radical extremist judge and all this stuff. But it is going to the next level. Hopefully, it's not denied. Hopefully, it is not. They do not go ahead and like overturn it on appeal.
Christina, did you have anything to ask Representative Nixon?
The work that you're doing and standing up and speaking out. You have been on the right side of history with every single thing that we said, and just know that we are cheering you on all the way out here in the Panhandle. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Sure.
So can BJ? Can I add to that? Or BJ, go ahead before I ask my question. I don't want to not let you get a chance.
Sure. You alluded to the your speeches on the House floor, some of them with people with their back turned, and there's a moment where one of your colleagues yelled out, something while you were giving an impassioned speech in support of the Palestinian people. And that representative just so happens to live in the Panhandle. And I want to tell you that because of you were able to draw out that reaction, and she was running from cameras. So I just wished that she had that same amount of passion for the people in her district that don't have internet access. I wish she had that kind of passion for the people in her district that are struggling with an environmental and water crisis. But I think you were able to bring out something in that representative that allowed other people in this district to see that she ain't really for the people. Do you have similar instances when you're on the floor giving speeches where this happens? I know there was another colleague who spent almost the entire congressional session trying to advocate for why slavery benefited us. But so how does that work when you're giving speeches on the floor, pouring your heart out, and this is the response?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I just feel like what happened, and I say this all the time, like what happens in Tallahassee ain't real, right? Like, I mean, the legislation, the policies that they pass, it is very real. It often negatively impacts our people, but it's like the pomp and circumstance and the foolery that they do, like that ain't real. Like the people are real, like, and they come back and they like help level set. And again, they let me know like that I'm on the right side of history. And it's like, I have said this before as well. It is hard to be nice to people who not only don't like you, but don't want your communities to exist. And that is real. But I know that I am there for a reason. I am there to help encourage people to speak out, to help encourage people to not be fearful and to be brave. And then, like, the people have my back, right? Like, people stop me on the street. People want to volunteer. People do volunteer, like, in regards to, like, trying to help better the community and help get people organized. And so, like, that's what drives me. That's what motivates me. But it has been very trying and traumatic at times. But, like, again, like I said, like, I know the people have my back.
So, because you are you, and I think Christina said, we've all said it. You're bold. You don't take no mess, and you speak up for the people, and you're fighting for us. And so, I know you might not be able to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. My heart says, okay, Representative Angie Nixon, what does the future hold for you?
Yeah.
Is there a vision? Is there an answer? Is there an
Hopefully my phone does not die
before I spend money? What do we need to do?
So like I put out a message because people have been asking like what's next. Do city council, do governor, do this, do that, do this. And so I will be honest with you all. I have launched an exploratory committee for the United States Senate. And I know people are like, Senate, U.S. Senate? Like, what you, like, for real? And I say, like, why not? Right? Like, we deserve folks who are going to be fighters. We got somebody in the White House that really ain't. Have to say it, right? And so it's like, why not? Right? Like, I believe it's time to have common sense solutions. I believe it's time to start fighting for early child care, like free early child care for all, so that people can get back to work, so that our children don't have to start from behind. I believe that we should have basically healthcare, free healthcare for all, right? So that we can ensure people aren't straddled with debt for the rest of their lives, or trying to figure out whether or not they should take their children to the ER or make sure they have food on their table. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, especially when we are subsidizing billionaires, companies who are you spending $50 million on a wedding. Like, make that make sense. Like, we're subsidizing this guy's company in order for him to pay $50 million for a wedding. Meanwhile, the people that he's employing, he won't even allow them to have a restroom break. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that we still, as a federal minimum wage, I believe it's still what, like $7.50? Like, $50 million wedding, $7.50 minimum wage. It's not making sense. It's not adding up. And frankly, I'm tired, and I have 5 kids, 7 if you include my dog and my husband. And I am going to fight for them and fight for hopefully my grandkids when I have some, and fight for like us now. Like, we deserve the opportunity to be healthy, to be prosperous and safe. We deserve the opportunity to experience rest and joy, and I'm willing to fight for it.
Jamil?
First off, good to see you again, friend.
We just saw each other earlier.
Literally. And shout out to our good friends over at Equal Ground Education Fund. We were with them over in St. Johns County for their final stop of their legislative debrief tour. So, all great things. My question for you is, you're wearing a shirt that says "Dream, Resist, Flourish." Shout out to the block. You've opened an awesome bookstore on the north side of Jacksonville, where I currently live at right now. Shout out to the north side, known as Cafe Resistant Bookstore. Take us through your initial vision of the bookstore, and so far, what have you seen come to fruition as far as the initial vision that you had?
Yeah, for sure. So it actually started out, and I'm gonna have to jet because like I got college and preschool is like tearing up the room, and I gotta get them ready for tomorrow after this. But it started
Shout out
out
to Juice.
as
Tell Juice to behave. Tell Juice to behave.
right. You saw it pop in, like, come on, mommy. It started out because they were banning books and they were teaching inaccurate Black history and saying that we benefited from slavery, as the great doctor just stated. And so I wanted to open up a space where we could get access to accurate history and access to books that they were banning that taught us our history, and also just taught us about the awesomeness of the great diversity within our country. And so it started out as that, and it has morphed into this amazing cultural hub where organizations come to educate people about building power and educate people about taking care of their bodies. And so we have workshops on health, workshops on mental health. We have actually listening and healing circles. We have free tutoring, free music for the kids. We also opened up a cafe where we offer healthy food options in an otherwise food insecure area where the only options you have are fried and lead to diabetes, right? And like we just offer a safe space for people to come and to learn and to just truly be themselves. And I also ask the hard things and to have uncomfortable conversations so that we can get to a place where we can just like really just love each other and like be cool and be good with each other. and I know what I'm saying does not sound so like academic and all the things, and it just may sound so basic to some people. But like at the end of the day, like again, that's all people want. Like people just want to be able to be. People just want to be able to like not live paycheck to paycheck, but to actually have some money where they can go out and vacation and this type of thing. And like we provided a space where people can learn how to do that and they can learn how to lean into community. And if they don't have this, that they can get some help. I mean, like we give away free Plan B. We just had a community baby shower where we gave away free diapers. Someone came in yesterday and they got some free milk that people donated, free formula, right? And it's like, we are here because there is a governmental breakdown and government right now is failing us in some capacity. And so we wanted to offer up a space to address the needs that folks have. And I'm excited at what we have started. And I just look forward to it continually growing. And it's amazing to see, like when you hear, oh, Black men don't care about their kids and this and that. We had an event that Brother Jamil was at, like that there were Black dads. It was a Black play date. They had their kids. They were talking to each other for advice and that type of stuff. And just, it was amazing to see, right? And I want, like that's how it should always be. And so I want to, at Cafe Resistance, we are allowing people the opportunity to dream again and realize that they can, in fact, like flourish.
On that note, we want to thank you very much.
Natasha, do you mind if I say one quick thing? I do want to say, like, we are very congratulated. Like, I'm really happy that you're gonna run for Senate. And like I said, I want to just go back to my point before you get out of here to like, don't forget about the panhandle, and I gotta drill that down because I know you mentioned about connecting us with resources. There has been a shift here amongst the have-nots and Black people. We are under extreme attack, and Black people in this county and in this city is waking up in a way that has never been seen before. From what they consider the YNs to our elders, we're all on one page, and we're kicking ass. And we're not just stopping at government that's holding us hostage. We're making people earn our vote, and we're holding people accountable. So our vote is a blood vote to us. So we want to get behind you, but I want to make it clear that we're not playing about our vote. And it just always seems like people get in office and they forget about us. And they forget about I've been in Jacksonville, I've been in all these places, and I hear how they talk about us. It's Black people here, and we ain't playing here. And we are under attack, and then we flip the script. Now we the one. And it ain't no fun when the rabbit holding the gun and we are the ones holding it. And we is not playing. And
Right.
and my thing is it's like we was on here the last time I was a guest on the show, we had who was he, Derek? The guy from Miami coming to talk to us like we some country bumpkins. Like who you think you talking to? So like man, this is Pensacola, Florida. We are not playing. We ain't country and we ain't stupid.
No, for sure.
And,
So I respect.
I just want that to be out there.
No, for sure. And I'm not trying to rush you because I just feel like my phone is about to die. But I hear everything that you're saying, and I just want to say, like, that's not me to forget about anyone, right? Like, there's no, like, it's no coincidence that I put the bookstore in the most not impoverished, but the lowest income area of my district, right? Like I grew up on Moncrief. I lost two of my cousins to gun violence. And so I don't like I work for y'all. Like I want to work for y'all. Like I already work for y'all, right? But I want to work for y'all on another another level. And I'm totally accessible to the point where like I be on my day job at the bookstore and people come in asking me for assistance and I'm working to help, you know, figure it out for them. And so I can say for without a shadow of a doubt, like that the panhandle will never be forgotten. Like I've literally like helped people in the panhandle connect to services and resources that they need as someone who is not their legislator. And so I also don't think my mama would let me like forget about anyone and definitely not my kids. And so I would say also like again, continue to do the work that y'all are doing and hold people accountable. And that's the only way we get things done.
All right, then. Thanks again for being with us this evening. We surely appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome back here anytime to address issues that affect the community and the state. And we are definitely will be looking forward to your Senate race in the future.
For
Jen,
sure.
did you have something else?
No, we just really, like Jerry just said, we want to say thank you. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for fighting. We know that you see the momentum up here. I think that's why you're here today, is to kind of share that, drop us a little line that you might be running. And I wanted to pull it out of you. So I thank you for sharing that, but really for all of your advocacy, because you are one of the ones that are in Tallahassee speaking up and speaking for us and speaking out and taking all of the backlash, because you get a lot of it. We see it. We don't feel it, but we absolutely see it. So for all of that, thank you. And take care of your babies and know that you've got a community up here that will be waiting to see you join us in all of our counties, so that we can get some of the work done that we need to get done. And you can answer some of the difficult questions, because we are absolutely under attack from within often as well. So
Yeah.
thank you again. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful night. And again, come anytime you'd like.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Right.
Thank you, everybody. That was Representative Angie Nixon from the wonderful county of Duval, who is just announced an exploratory committee for the U.S. Senate for the state of Florida. So we thank her for coming on today, and I appreciate it. Now that I have you, okay, so I lost your name there, removed to my screen. Jamil, do you want to talk briefly about the events that are happening this coming week, and then we can pivot into the other stuff for Jermaine?
Good evening, good friends and gentlemen. My name is Jamil Davis. I am the North Florida lead regional organizer for an awesome and wonderful organization known as Black Voters Matter. We serve in 25 states across the country around voter advocacy, legislative advocacy, as well as capacity building. But y'all not here to hear about all of that. Y'all are here to hear about the great thing that's about to go down this week across North Florida. I call it the Black August North Florida Freedom Bus Tour. And we kicking everything off Thursday, August the 28th, in my favorite city in the state of Florida. And I'm not putting on because I'm on Our Voices. Every person that's on this call knows this is my favorite city in the state of Florida, Pensacola. We live in effect in Pensacola, Florida, as y'all see on the screen. Derek has nicely so put up the graphic of all of the events that we will be doing in Pensacola, Florida. Shout out to my good brother Jermaine that's on the call. Him and my good brother Jonathan Garrett Green is going to be over at Maritime Park, adjacent to Wahoo Stadium, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. with Walk the Talk, connecting the person and the vote to understand community effects. We're going to be talking a lot about the gentrification efforts that are currently happening in Pensacola right now, and the fact that there is a history behind that. Like, this ain't just some stuff that they just started to try to kick off recently because DC is currently in the mayoral seat. And I'm one of those. Like let's kick that off. I'm one of those. I actually call names out. So there's a history of gentrification that's occurring in Pensacola, and we want to also tie that to the mental health situations that are occurring, mental health efforts that are happening in Pensacola that are being led by these two good brothers here, as well as Ms. Hill Morissette with Life is Hell. They're doing some great things. She's doing some great things over at Overflow Health Alliance. My brother Jermaine is doing some great and wonderful things. Listen, shout out to you, bro. I'm very envious of you because of the fact that you got to go visit the grave of the great El Haj Malik El Shabazz. We're gonna talk when I come in town. So there are some other efforts. I mean, there's some other things that are going on. If y'all want to join us from 4 to 5 p.m. over at Blaze Barbershop, we're going to be doing a barbershop conversation over there as well. And then Life is Hell. Life is Hell is going to be doing some awesome and wonderful things with the Life is Hell Black August Movement Math from 6:30 to 8:30 over at 1216. So come see us. Y'all see the QR code that's on the screen. Scan the QR code. It'll take you to the Mobilize link where you can RSVP for a lot of these events. But these are not the only cities that we come into for the bus tour. It's just starting in Pensacola. August 28th, August 29th, we'll be in Panama City, Florida. So for all of my people in Bay County that's watching Our Voices tonight, be sure to come see us in Panama City, Florida. August the 30th, we're going to be in Jacksonville. Everything that's happening in Jacksonville is literally going to be at Representative Nixon's bookstore at Cafe Resistance. We're doing everything at Cafe Resistance on the 30th. And then the 31st, our North Florida portion of the bus tour ends in Gainesville. September the 1st and the 2nd will be in Orlando because there is a special election going on for Senator Geraldine Thompson's state Senate seat, as well as the state House seat that is currently being occupied by House Representative LaVon Bracey Davis. And so September the 1st and 2nd, we're going to be in the Orlando area to help out with that special election. And that's the bus tour, y'all. Listen, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Low key, I'm actually coming into Pensacola early. I'm coming into Pensacola on Tuesday to be with my good brother Jermaine, Jonathan, Hill, and all of the citizens in Pensacola as we go to this town hall discussion that's happening at 5:30 with Mayor DC Reeves and Councilman Delaren Wiggins. I know we're probably going to touch on that a little bit in the show, but probably gonna touch on some other issues as well. But I also want to make sure that people know I'm coming in the city because I have a lot of things that I want to discuss around this gentrification situation that's going on in Pensacola, and how I'm not pleased that the Fricka Community Center is being used as the epicenter around these gentrification issues. But that's it. Back to y'all.
Just a real quick question. Is either Cliff or Latasha, will any of them be on the bus with you anytime?
Unfortunately, no, because they will be putting their efforts towards going up to DC. As we all know, this DC takeover is a real thing, and they are possibly. So I want to also make this perfectly clear because I've heard a lot, not from you all, but from a lot of other social media outlets and a lot of other media outlets. They are looking. They have not done it, and they have not decided to do it yet. They are looking to deploy as large as 17,000 troops across other cities in this country. And as Rep. Nixon has stated, yes, let's be very, very clear. They are looking to do some of that in cities here in the state of Florida. I live in a city right now that they are 100%, if they get the green light, they're probably going to send some troops down here to Jacksonville. They're probably going to send some over to Orlando, and they're probably going to send some over to Miami. Why? Jacksonville, we are twofold. Jacksonville, we currently have a Democratic mayor who, if that particular Democratic mayor gets reelected in 2027 when we have our municipal elections, and 2026 midterms doesn't go the way that the Democratic Party would like for it to go, then we all but could truly say that Mayor Donna Deegan could possibly be the front runner for 2030, because at this particular point, she's the most successful Democratic individual that's in a higher up position in elected office here in the state of Florida, and she's the mayor of the largest city landmass wise in the congruent United States. And Jacksonville is one of those cities that has a high population of black people in it. So that's just a whole trifecta of nonsense going on here in Duval County that both President Donald Trump as well as Governor Ron DeSantis would definitely like to sink their teeth in by throwing some National Guard troops in to quote unquote clean up the crime in Duval County, even though the last 3 years we have seen crime drop exponentially in Duval County. Jermaine can attest to this. I can attest to this. You know what I'm saying? Being directly here in Jacksonville, those of us can attest to this. Crime has dropped. And a lot of it doesn't have to do with JSO. Let's be clear on that. A lot of it does not have to do with JSO, but on a lot of the initiatives that community advocates, mental health experts, and activists are doing currently right now in Duval County.
I know, you know, what people fail to realize, what they're doing in DC is an occupying force. And what they plan on doing in Maryland, Chicago, and other places around the country, that's an occupying force. They're, you know, it's a strategy, really, to put people in place already. They'll have people already in place when they get ready to turn the country over to a dictatorship. And meaning that they can cut food, water, electric, and everything off to those individuals by using the military to do that. And that's something that people need to be very, very astute on, that these are political strategies that they are putting in place right now to set up blockades. And this is what they're trying to get the people used to. They got all these places where they are stopping people and checking and all of that. And they have an arrest. I think overall around 28 people was arrested for having something illegal. That's less than what the police do every day in DC. But they make it as if it's a big deal, because like you say, crime has been dropping everywhere because of initiatives that was put in place to help people who have mental conditions. Some is housing, others people who have been incarcerated but cannot find homes and jobs that they would need, so they end up on the streets. Their family is not taking them in. But these are occupying forces now that are being set up to use as blockades in case that they want to turn the country into a dictatorship. And this is the trajectory that they are on right now. And I hope people are paying much, much closer attention than we have in the past to see what's taking place. Derek?
I agree with you 100%. I am appreciative that there is that, Jamil, you're bringing Black Lives Matter and doing the tour stops here. I wanted to jump back to something that Jermaine said, and I wanted to get your take, or you to elaborate a little bit more. Your quote, and I appreciated it. You said everybody's on one accord, from the YNs to the elders. We're seeing movements here. Can you elaborate about what you're seeing? I know we haven't touched base since after the discussion with the mayor and the efforts that are happening with Fricker Center. What are you seeing? What was the result of that? Can you share from your perspective? And what are you seeing when you talk about the mobilization of folks across the Across the state of the county?
I'm gonna let you go first, man.
Oh, no. He was asking you.
No, I was asking you because you
Okay.
said from the YNs. It was your
Oh, you
quote.
asking me?
Yeah, I was asking
Mhm.
you.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I was there, and listen, you know, I I got a lot of respect for Angie Nixon, I really do. But like I get so heated, you know, because I swear, y'all, we pour so much into other people getting them elected. And even though we don't turn blue here, we do our damnedest to get everybody out, you know. And and then in return, we got people like Michelle Salzman. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I don't know that just kind of struck a nerve. But anyway, back to the Escambia County, Pensacola. Yeah, I the DC Reeves is a coward, man. And you know, we met with him behind closed doors, and you know, it's just that the fact that I had to remind him that all this gentrification didn't just get here on his watch, you know. And you know, he took everything so personal. Everything was so personal when it came to DC Reeves. And you know, it's the fact when you insult our intelligence and you try to tell us one thing, but we're seeing another. Like, I'm not going to trust you over my eyes, you know. And when I did that live and made it plain, 20 minutes of making it plain, 350 shares later, 30,000 views later. Next thing you know, everybody was on board because you know we have had me and Derek talked about it. We have had loud voices in Pensacola, a lot of them, and I'm not talking about you know H.K. Matthews or Leroy Boyd. I'm not even going back that far. And a lot of those voices are quiet, but they're driving Benzes, if you get what I mean. So now you just have people like me who are getting threats, who are getting their job threatened, who are just all kind of things from making powerful enemies. But it doesn't matter because I'm seeing something that I thought I'd never see. And that is young people. The young people, even, you know, young black people that see these young guys in the 102 Florida humidity heat wearing sweatshirts coming down the sidewalk, and you know certain people will go on the other side of the street, and these are the same people that are showing up to these meetings with the mayor or you know to protest some of the things going on in cops, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous for anybody to come up against. And we are right now in a climate where it scares a lot of people in power. And I'm talking everybody from Quint Studer to down to Michelle Salzman to DC Reeves and the Reeves family organization or whatever. And everybody's terrified because you have everyone on the same accord. That's number one. And number two, it didn't fizzle out. One thing I could say about black people, especially like they'll get mad for a little bit, at least here, they'll get mad for a little bit. You give it some time, ride the wave, they'll let it go. Here we are going on almost 2 months, and we ain't stopped. We only got kept going stronger and stronger, and that is something that will scare anybody. Hell, I'm on their side, and it scare me. So you know, it's just one of those things, man, that I'm just really proud of all of us for. Um, and I know I just got a different stance, man. I love Pensacola. I love the Panhandle. And like I got that rare experience that I shared with Jamil that I've been in Duval, not for a little bit. I got sober in Duval. I went to third grade in Duval, fifth grade in Duval. I've been over there the last 10 years before I just moved back here. So I got a very good post, not just on Duval, but the elected officials in Duval. I remember when Mayor Donna Deegan was on TV. So I mean, like I I know how it is to be. I worked at the Northeast Florida Healthy Start Coalition. And I saw where mental health money is driven from Jacksonville on down. They ain't even thinking about the panhandle. Same thing with a lot of stuff. And I'm just, I could be proud of a lot of people, but at the same time, to forget about my hometown and my area, it makes me angry no matter how hard you fight for, you know, what we all are fighting for. So, if I made anyone uneasy earlier, I'm sorry, but that's my passion. That's my love for this area. And, I'm just so tired of people forgetting about us, man. I'm just so tired of people forgetting about us. We have it worse than anyone in the state. We do.
Well,
And
Jermaine, one thing you'll notice that we don't get upset about people coming on here telling it like it is. But the second thing is, it was always younger people who have led these movements in the country because they're more healthy, have different ideas, how to do things. Just and then they're more connected to the younger people. That peer to peer is so much better than trying than people my age trying to reach maybe one or two, where you could reach 1,000. But the elderly should be available to help in any way that they possibly can, whether it's through finance, advice, or whatever that's needed to make sure that movement is successful. And that's the only way is, because when you think about, most people don't realize that Martin Luther King, then when they started, Fred Hampton, all of them, they was all in their 20s, early 20s, not late 20s. And there, Fred Hampton was killed at 21. Huey Newton and all of them, H. Rap Brown, the whole list of people, John Lewis, they were like 19 years old.
I
And
tell you this, Mr. McIntosh, I agree with you, but the only challenge for today is they ain't
Mhm.
got Rick Ross in their ear. They ain't got Kodak Black in their ear. They
Right,
don't
right, right, right.
like, and I think the powers that be did a good job of seeing what where the power came up, the COINTELPRO, the Stop the Rise of a Black Messiah, and seeing that they came from the youth driven, and they did a good job of attacking our youth. Hell, I fell victim to it too. And but even in the midst of that, we found a way to spring it up. Like I was very shocked, with the live that I did about DC Reeves and all those things. And I don't normally do this, but that live took off so much. I went through the shares, and I seen these young guys like dreads and gold, and they just what I mean, like super young and like in the streets. And somebody shared it with the caption, "This man is 100% right. What am I doing with my life?" And I was like, wow. That says a lot when you look at TikTok and you do all the things that's driven to distract the youth, to make them not even care, to make them totally just blank out, And I'm just so excited to have this, because listen, like Jamil said, I just got back from New York. I visited Malcolm X's grave, and I went to the Audubon Ballroom, and they even let me sit in his office. And this morning, I woke up to an email from Dr. Ilyasha Shabazz, Malcolm X's daughter, who emailed me this morning. So, you know, I mean, like I'm taking the what we're going on here. I just sat down and talked to a lot of people in New York about what is going on in Pensacola. And I don't want to talk about too much what we're doing behind the scenes, but it's stuff like that, to connect our fights outside to a bigger, like the Malcolm X daughter and them. You know what I'm saying? Like to have them even care. Like I had a tour. They gave me a personal tour. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. I stayed up for 2.5 hours just talking. You know, and Mr. McIntosh, everybody on this call, y'all, man, y'all are doing a outstanding job. Mr. McIntosh, you and Miss McIntosh took me in when I was at the J Hall Center when I was young and dumb. Had us, I mean, taught us everything. I had no clue who built the pyramids until I met you. I had no clue what we were. I thought we began with slavery. I remember y'all used to just make us with that mantra. We are the ones that created the mathematics system. To this day, that's why I credit you and Miss McIntosh for that. And and I say all that to your point earlier that you say that the elders should be available, that the elders did their job. You have imparted in us a great deal. Like, I don't even think that I would be interested at 43 years old to go walk where Malcolm walked and to see what he was dying if I was never in your class at the J.E. Hall. So, and that sprung up that live, and that gave the belief and the power to call out and say, hey, y'all think, people like Quint Stewart, like, see through all the philanthropist stuff that he dressed up as this Halloween and see him for the villain that he is, just those kind of things, just to empower you to speak the truth. And who cares who get offended by it? Who cares who gets offended by it? So I'm sorry. That's all I got.
You good, but I also want to. So I also want to touch on something as well. I think a lot of I think a lot of this goes back to why we may not have leaders with the age, the youthful age. There are leaders that we have that have a youthful exuberance. Like, I think a lot of the reason why the young cats in Pensacola, if you will, gravitated to the live that Jermaine did is because you very it's things that you do and it's things that you have is very recognizable. I'm like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you grilled out, like you grilled out, you got the beard, like you have ways that you relate to ways that you relate to the culture as a whole, but you take elements of the culture and put it towards organizing to make sure that it's understood that what we do in the culture is a byproduct of the universal Zulu Nation, which for all intents and purposes are the creators and the architects of hip hop culture, who drew up the five elements. The Universal Zulu Nation is a product of the street gangs in New York City. The street gangs in New York City is a byproduct of the destruction of the Black Panther Party. So all of this is interconnected. Not only, street gangs in New York are a byproduct of the Black Panther Party, they're a byproduct of the crumbling, if you will, of the Nation of Islam and of the Association of African American Unity after the assassination of Minister Malcolm. So, like, all of this is directly intertwined. And so when you get to what hip hop culture really means and what hip hop culture really represents, these are things that we're supposed to be doing. And I think also what's happening in Pensacola is a product of what happened from 2019 and 2020. A lot of people in Pensacola are still looking for something to tie themselves to after the Tamar movement. And you said it on Sunshine Show. This is the new movement right here. And you may have meant that this is the new movement from, things that were going on in the 80s and 90s. I took it as this is the new movement post Tamar. Because after everything that happened with Tamar, after the bridge situation happens and the family is able to get one of the largest settlements that any family has gotten in the state, we were able to get a civilian oversight review board in Pensacola. Like there are bigger cities, there are bigger metropolitan cities in the state of Florida that's never had a civilian oversight review board for the police. We had one, and it's due to the work that happened. But after that, things started kind of simmer down and things started to kind of quiet down a little bit. And it's no fault on the people who are residents in Pensacola. It's not even a fault for real on the organizers in Pensacola. It's really just because, 2020 happens, we get President Biden in office, and the same thing, that happens always happens. Once people feel this peace and tranquility, we don't hold our elected officials and we don't hold our organizers accountable like we should. And so we get now to 2024 and 2025, and things are starting to be taken away from us. And a district of Pensacola that had such Black revitalization, Black prestige, Black excellence as Belmont DeVillers is now on the verge of not even looking like what it was when it was Chitlin Circuit era, when it was Jazz Trail era. Now it's literally about to look like Hipsterland. And that's no fault of our own. It's really the fault of us feeling like the people that we have within city government was going to do the things that they said that they were going to do. But a lot of them are tucking tail and running behind. And now we're in the midst of this situation, but this situation has reignited people again. It didn't take one of us having to lose our life. It took us almost being on the verge of losing the livelihood that we have as a community. Fricker Community Center, for all intents and purposes, bro, like that's the epicenter of Black activity in Pensacola. We had one of our, when we were doing Pensacola Dream Defenders, shout out now to A50 Civic Crew, we had one of our people's assemblies there. That was one of the places, that was like the place that we frequently had freedom sessions and meetings at around the Tamar situation. So y'all doing it, bro. Like y'all really doing it. And I just want for you to know, like, not only is this like a message of encouragement, but this is also like a war cry for real. Like y'all are really doing this. There are people, once again, who would never talk about organizing efforts in Pensacola, because I'm still on, I be telling people all the time, I'm still on Panama City Facebook and I'm still on Pensacola Facebook. And there are people who would never be talking about this type of stuff that's adamant about it now. And it's because of the efforts of, as I like to call it, the three-headed monster in Pensacola, Hell Jermaine and Jonathan. So man, shout out to y'all, man. And also y'all are doing the thing that Mr. McIntosh did, and that you all are training and mentoring the next generation of Pensacola freedom fighters as well. So shouts out to y'all, bro. Like, y'all maintaining the work for real.
Jill, is Chevron Jones still coming on? Sorry about that.
I sent a message. His flight was delayed, so I'm assuming he was still up in the air. He just sent that. Unfortunately, my flight is delayed. And he hasn't responded. Let me just make sure. I just told him we're on until 10 o'clock his time, 9 o'clock our time. So if he gets that off his plane in time, then yes. And if not, we will just keep going.
You're right. Okay. Christina, go ahead, Jermaine.
Jill must be the plug, man. Jill got everybody.
So, Jermaine, if you haven't figured it out yet, we have of course, the chair of the Florida Democratic Party is Nikki Fried, but I think the shadow chair, the person who runs everything under the Florida Democratic structure, is that lady up there. Like she won't tell you, but she does have two presidents in her phone. Um, and several governors and things of that nature. She just don't want to tell you that, but she does. She is that person. So when you need something, if you need to get to one of the black legislators in Tallahassee, you go to Jill. If you need to go to one of the black Congress people, you go to Jill. If you need to go to get Governor Wes Moore, go to Jill. You need to get Bakari Sellers, go to Jill. Fill out the blank. She has everybody. Like she's not gonna tell you.
Now, you
If
know,
you ask her, maybe offline for President Obama's telephone number,
That's
she might
Christina.
give it to
Remember?
you.
That's Christina.
Well, I'm sorry. Christina
Yeah.
has
The
Michelle.
presidents are
And
Christina. I do
Michelle, yeah.
everybody else,
so
but
y'all
I
Well,
don't
like,
do it alone. What I
and
will tell you
everybody
is that
she's
board.
that person.
I don't do all of this work alone. I have a fabulous team. And if we ran, well, first of all, and that would be Derek, Christina, BJ. I have a fabulous team with CCOC. We are over 250 clubs and caucuses and getting them certified. So there are boots on the ground. But if I think there are things that we would do differently if we were really the chair, but I don't want to be the chair. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want that headache.
But
This
she
is
could be.
Yes,
enough.
it does make sense.
But we feel it and we know what's going on in the inside, and it's harder for those of us that look like this, and it's easier for them that don't look like this to look inside and say, "Oh yeah, there's a problem," but not do anything. We live it
Now,
every
Yeah.
day.
you should have been told me that. Now I've been talking crazy in front of Jill since.
No, but I don't have any power. Let me just tell you something. It's all free. It's all free. I don't get paid a penny. This is all volunteerism. This is because I love our community. This is because I want to give back. And this is because they fooled me and told me it was going to be better than it is. But I'm still here and I'm still doing the work. And I just pull people in like Derek and BJ, Christina and Fran and Lori and everybody. And I'm a good motivator. And for the most part, although I am meticulous and I do want things done right, I like to encourage. Sometimes Derek will be like, Jill, nobody cares about all that. We don't want to be
Oh,
puzzle
no.
pieces. We don't want to all link together. Yes, we do. And whether you do or not, you are. So I just help them see who they are so they can do the work that needs to be done so we can get where we got to go.
Jermaine, if you ever, and Jamil, if you ever want a flyer done and you need it done quickly, do not go to Jill, because Jill will go through every font listed on Canva and then change the background according to the font, and then change the font again and then the background again. Oh my God, it's so unnecessary.
But when
But I
it's
get it.
done, Jermaine, what he's not telling you is when it's done, people are like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And then he'll say, yeah, but I don't get any credit. Derek gets all the credit because he created it. I just get the pain in his side of, I don't like that. The font doesn't look, and to be honest, it's me, but I really do. Font and design, BJ, you design, Christina, now you design. I know y'all all design. It matters. And so I can see it. I just can't do it myself, but I can absolutely see it. I can figure it out. And like, that's it. And then it all comes together. It's kind of like life. It's kind of like being the puzzle piece. Derek, my whole life is all circular.
We love it. We love it just as much as we love the donut wall. That's how much we But
So if y'all don't mind, if y'all don't mind, because not only do we have like some really great, awesome people on here, we also have some local county Democratic Party presidents, chairs, as well as, DBC, county DBC chairs. So if y'all don't mind, like I kind of would like to get into my interviewer bag, a little bit. Shout out to the NPN network. We do this awesome, wonderful podcast over there. It's called BLKFLA, the podcast. We'll be coming back with some more episodes around September ish. So my question to y'all, and any of the four of y'all, because BJ, I know what you do, BJ. You do some marvelous work, BJ. So, knowing that you all are either DBC chairs or Dem Party chairs within the Panhandle, what is the word that's coming down from state as far as the investment that they really want to make within the Panhandle once we get into 2026 midterm elections? Because here's the thing. So, I don't know if anybody's paid attention to it, but I've been paying attention to the background that Derek has on his screen. Escambia County look blue after 19 years. That doesn't happen without the work, not just of people on the party side, but also people on the C3 side of not just Escambia County, but all the counties that we represent, that's being represented on this call within the Panhandle. But if I can be frank for a minute, it shouldn't take that if there's an accurate investment and there's an equal investment in all of the local Dem parties across the state. And if there's equal investment in all local Dem parties across the state, then there should be equal investment in the local Dem parties within the Panhandle, because we're here. And also, if we're speaking on DBC, Democratic Black Caucuses, there should be equal investment in that as well. But they don't want me to say stuff like that, because then I start getting phone calls from y'all state chair, and it just becomes a thing. So with that, it's back to my initial question: what is the investment that we're really looking at, and what type of manpower is it going to take in order for us to get to the point where even in an actual midterm election, we can do this again, but we can also get some significant strides in Santa Rosa and in Okaloosa as well.
Yeah, you want to tackle? You want to go?
He's so funny, because I know you saw my text message, and my text message said, "You'll start this one, Derek."
Okay.
Because,
Okay.
not only did you blue
down.
Scambia, but more so because you are also chair free buddy. So
She don't call me like she call you. That's your friend. You haven't taken her. So I guess what I will say is, and I'll speak from my perspective, the investment is as the investment was, right? Which is none. I think what we have gotten is a lot of notoriety across the state, and they're like, "Ooh, wow, look at what y'all have done. We didn't expect this to ever happen, but it happened," right? So kudos to you. When we look at, I think in a good way to look at this would have been, let's take the work that we did on the CD1 race with Gage's race, right? And the CD1 outperformed CD6 with Josh Will's campaign by leaps and bounds. It wasn't even close, right? They did. The Florida Democratic Party invested more. Josh Will and his campaign invested more. They have more Democrats, yet the momentum all the way across the board, Escambia overshadowed, Santa Rosa overshadowed, Okaloosa overshadowed. Walton, their chair is horrible, so they don't do it, right? But we all did what we were supposed to do in this election, right? I would have expected when it came down to House District 3 in those special elections for House District 3 that we saw, well, maybe we pay a little bit more attention, not say, oh, okay, we're going to put all our eggs in one basket because they could have said that's a fluke, right? Let's pay a little bit more attention to House District 3, especially when it was like House District 13, 32, or whatever the other race was. And so that happened simultaneous. Again, the same thing happened. House District 3 race overperformed outside of the other races. They were nowhere near. House District 32 was nowhere near what House District 3 did. A little low up here, what we were able to do, right? So to me, one time can be a fluke, two times is a pattern, right? I don't see. I have yet to hear my phone ring and say, "Oh, Derek, guess what? We're going to invest and do this." What I did hear is, "Oh, we're gonna get y'all a field director. Y'all can have a dedicated field director, but y'all can pay for it and we'll manage it." What I did hear was, some help's coming, but we're gonna see. Even when it comes time to the little things like phone banks, we don't get like when they do statewide phone banks. It's always the phone calls always have to be completed for the other district before it comes to our district. So when they did the statewide phone bank for gay, they did all the CD6's phone calls before they went to CD1. That's crazy. That's not how it should be. But okay, whatever. It is what it is. The same thing happened in the House district race, right? So I'm expecting what we've always expected, which is nothing. But what I will say is, some old like, y'all can do it, you can do it. Whatever we're here to do, we can do. I mean, we have the technical stuff like VAN and EMS and all that other stuff that we can get. We've now got the sources for that. But I think where the party lacks, I think we are now all incredibly grateful. We can say that we're incredibly grateful because we now all have the financial investment from the Engage All PAC, Engage Development PAC. So what Florida Democratic Party isn't doing, Engage stepped up and said, we'll do it, and we can get it done ourselves. And that investment was ginormous. I'm making up words, but we've never, I don't think any of our counties have seen this amount of money ever, right? In a democratic period as democratic leaders. So we now are able to do some of the things for ourselves. So what we could not do before, we're able to do a little bit more. Now, when you see advertisements on television like you saw with Gage, we ain't got that, we ain't got it like that. But hopefully with resources, and now we can BJ and I and Jill, as state committee person, can now do fundraising efforts here locally that will get us a little bit more grassroots, get more grassroots dollars. I've seen an uptick in our donations locally since then. This the last 2 months. We've on a monthly basis we've raised money where we've been in the black. We've never been in the black ever in life. We're always operating in the red. So to be in the black, I'm like, well, all right, then cool. We might be doing something. So I'm expecting us to do it, whatever we're going to do for us. If it happens, then I'll be excited, but I'm not counting.
One of the things, Derek, that people underestimate is that here in the Panhandle, in any statewide race, we can be the margin of error that determine a statewide race. Not only here, I mean, not only statewide, but in many instances, if there was the money that would need to be behind to reach the kind of people that you need to reach, it probably some of these local races probably could be, the state senate or state representative race could be won by a Democrat in this area. But we've been written off so long. Like I said, we've been underestimated, undervalued, you know, so, and marginalized. And that's the thing about it. What has happened over the years that I've watched politics take place in this area is people don't realize that from here to Tallahassee, there are many Democrats. You know, of course, we're outnumbered in many instances by Republicans, but it's enough of us to change the statewide elections all over the state, especially in the Senate race, the governor's race, and other races that's statewide. We can make the difference if the attention was paid enough in these areas.
To Jerry's point, and then I'll go back to Derek. And when Andrew Gillum ran and Gwen Graham, they were neck and neck. And that was the first time that I had seen anybody like turn and like, hey, Jill, tell everybody they gotta go vote. They gotta go vote. It's all up to y'all. We got 1 hour left. Y'all gotta push them over the edge, push them over the edge. And we did it. So this was way back then. We haven't not been doing work. We've been doing the work. It just was never enough because the party structure wanted Gwen Graham and the panhandle said, I don't think so. You know why we said that? Because Gwen Graham chose not to come here because she listened to the Walton County chair who said, oh, we got it in the bag. It's okay. You don't need to talk to them. And you know who came to every single city for real? Not pretend, not Tallahassee to Escambia, because, you know, I love y'all Escambia people. I love you because you guys turn blue. We're working really hard in Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, Skip County, Bay County, keep going. But we're just saying you can't get from Tallahassee to Escambia without going through us not once but twice. So stop by and say hi. Make our people appreciate the fact that they're doing the work so they'll continue to do the work. So I say all that, but then I'll go back to what Derek said. They saw it then, and then I'll go forward the next 2018 up until COVID hit. You still saw the movement from red to blue was 5 counties, and 4 of them were in the panhandle, the real panhandle. Pensacola, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, Bay probably. But it was the 4 of us. It's always been there. The writing's been there. So they could have been watching, but they weren't. And then you have the special election. Even in the regular election, you could see just, I don't even want to dream about that. It was terrible. Okay, let's go to special election. Special election, they see it. They don't believe it. And they're still in the wrong district. We didn't get the chair until the day of the election. Wait. Wasn't it because of the weather was, I don't even want to go there. So anyway, so while we're out, I had BJ in my car and he was out in the rain and everybody else couldn't come because it was raining too hard, but we're doing the work. Thundering, lightning. Okay. So now they see it. Then you have House District 3 and they see Santa Rosa and Okaloosa, huge astronomical turns. So very close that if they would have just put anybody on the ground, if they just would have put a little bit of money, if they just would have made some more phone calls instead of, we literally were on the HD, the House District special election, and we never got a single call to Santa Rosa, Okaloosa. We were on there for 2.5 hours because we had to call Brevard first. And the candidate was on. Dondre was like, I got to get off because I can make my own phone calls. Because what the party's doing is having me call the other candidates, people. Yep. It's crazy. So what would I say? I would say, they do have line items for Black and Brown communities and all of these different communities, but it's $100,000 for all of Florida. I highly doubt very little of it's going to come to us. And so we have to utilize, like Derek said, the blessing that we had a candidate was able to do what Gay was able to do, and then said, I believe in you, and I thank you for getting me here. And you know what she said to the FDP? Here's your $10,000 back. You can have it. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. So she gave them their money back. You know what I would have done if I was the chair? I'd have said, Gabe gave me the money back for your race, so here's your $10,000. And I'd have split it between 3 counties. They don't need it. She just gave you $10,000. Why are you not reinvesting that in who's made all your news thing, who's bringing you in all the money? I mean, I'm just saying. So I might be a part of the structure, but because I'm a volunteer, I speak truth. Because I don't get any money, I'm speaking truth. You got $10,000, you could give it back to the community. And I know Vernon would want us to say this, and it's the absolute truth. And then you could, I don't know, put some of that money and that
Black advertising.
money, yes, into black. I was trying to be nice, into black advertising in the Panhandle, not in Duval County, not in Miami. Here, because we're here doing the freaking work every gosh day on a Sunday.
Now, I do want to say,
Day for free. Like, I want you guys to think for a minute. Because my daughter says this, but I know it now for all of y'all except for BJ, because you're a doctor too, and Christine. But I'm just saying, if you take away your actual regular jobs and look at how much time you spend doing all this volunteer work, we'd all be millionaires. Because that's what she said. Mom, we'd be millionaires if you got paid for any of all the jobs you do. I know. And we just do it and we just do it. And at some point, we do absolutely, we need to require that the state parties say, you know what, they're doing the job. They're doing the work. And no, we're never, ever, I don't know, Blue Scambia, but it would never, ever to be a Duval or we're better than Miami. They're red. Shoot. I mean, like, that's where they put all their money. All the money goes in those 7 counties, and most of those 7 counties turn red. So now they're red as we are. Why is the money still going there? Why don't you try something different? Just saying.
well, you do want to give her, and I'm gonna say this, but so if somebody said, "Oh no, y'all didn't give us the credit," I am gonna give them credit because they did decide to do something different this year, and they gave us they did, you know how they send out those national fundraising texts, right? Well, they did one where the 3 counties, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa, got a split. So I think I got $192 from that. So
they did. I do want to say that the thought process of it was good. They did feel like they needed to give back, but that was after they raised all the money off of the special election. And then the second special election, they did do, I'm not saying the party doesn't do anything, but money wise, it's not coming here, and they can't justify it coming here because they can't even make enough themselves. And then you get into staffing and whether you use people that are here that actually represent us, or you use people here that you know that somebody told you is going to be good because I don't know. So it's a whole total breakdown, and I'd love for us to have a conversation on some show, I don't care whose show, or maybe just in real life, about racism, about how we utilize our community the way we need to so that we are not struggling to get passports to leave. This is where we are, and this is our community. So how do we utilize our community to live here? How do my kids and my grandkids and y'all's kids and your grandkids and your wives, husbands, whoever, live here without such... all I can tell you is that it's rough at times. At times, you don't want to give up because you want to give up. You want to give up because if you don't give up, you might actually do something to somebody because they're just so damn nasty. Like, they're just freaking nasty, and you're doing the work.
Dondre lost his race for no other reason than racist.
Yes.
And not from racism because there were Republicans who didn't want to vote for somebody black. I'm talking about there were white Democrats, and not all of them, because we had a ton that came out from Escambia who did what they were supposed to do. There are a lot who refused to lift a finger, which is what they're obligated to do as precinct captains and members of the Democratic Executive Committee. They refused to lift a finger to help someone black.
And there's no accountability for that. Nothing we can do but the slap in the face, because then we had to work twice as hard to get the results that were phenomenal, but he could have won if they'd got up off there and did what they were supposed to.
Yeah.
And
See,
see,
Jermaine,
that's
I got it in me. You just said know it, but I have to
I
wait.
see that. I see that. And that's what I want to know. What's the protocol? Because let me tell you something. It's so much I want to say in that first hour. Out of respect for Jerry, I haven't called you Jerry like we peers. Mr. McIntosh.
We
Um,
peers.
no, we ain't peers. You the man. I'm still a child. Um, Miss Jill and Derek. I mean, there's a lot of things I want to say in the first hour. Uh, that I felt like I was having a stroke holding it in.
But don't do that.
And but I just didn't want to mess up nobody's Senate campaign. So, it's like one of those things you kind of, how you even, you know what I mean? So, because
And
the Democrats, um, a lot of them need that same treatment.
and
Um,
that's and that was my purpose behind asking this question, because whether you know it or not, and I feel
I
like you do,
hate to
and
cut
I'm
you
talking
off,
to.
Jamil.
Mhm.
We can still go over on the live stream. We just can't go over on television.
Television. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Go ahead,
Right.
Jamil. That's what I was about to say, Derek. Weird. Yeah.
um, no, but like whether you know it or not, Jermaine, and I feel like you do. Um, this is an everyday thing. Like, we sit in these rooms, whether virtually or literally, we sit in these rooms with organizations, the party, and watch them literally say to us that the panhandle doesn't matter. And we have to essentially be the people that's fighting to tell them no. Because if we're just gonna look at this from just a black voter perspective, because I have to look at this from a black voter perspective every day. It's my job. It's what they pay me on the 1st and the 15th for. If we just looking at this from a black voter perspective, your top 10 counties with the highest percentage of black population in the state of Florida, two of them are not in North Florida, and most of them are rural counties. And Escambia is number 8.
well, see, this is what I mean, right? Because I know earlier I put a lot of my efforts into representing what on the panhandle. I met this wonderful girl in Duval County. This was when I was in addiction to just clubbing and stuff. And we created an amazing child. And I got custody of him, and he's here now. He's 15. But when he was 10 years old, his auntie battled schizophrenia really bad. Um, my son's best friend was his little cousin. She was 6 years old. The mother was still allowed to come visit the child, and she came over in Duval County. Long story short, she pulled out a butcher knife and stabbed her daughter to death in front of my son. And that was one of the hardest things we've ever been through. We're still dealing with it now, 5 years later. We reached out to everyone in Duval County, everyone that we thought would have our backs. No one helped us. No one. When I say no one, I mean no one. So that's why I'm like, not only don't forget about the panhandle, but, you know, you got to be careful in some certain situations when you're running for office or you're doing these things, because people that you didn't think were nobodies, and then later, years later, you land up on the same show with them and you didn't help. So that's what and I didn't want to call those things out. It was holding me. It was everything I had. You know, I let off the hook. I ain't want to. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like when people are running nowadays, like right now, what we're going through, not just in Escambia County, as Jill put it, throughout the entire and I'm going to stop saying Escambia County, Jill. I'm going to say the Panhandle for now on, because you're right. You got to go through your county twice to get to our county, and no one knows that stretch of I-10 better than me. I've been traveling since I was in the 5th grade. Um, but you know, right now I feel like with our counties, what we're going through, like nobody in the state, this coalition, this what we have going on, nobody in the state have it like we got it. You know, nobody has the resilience that we got. No one has to fight harder. We have to fight 4 times harder. And if I'm going to give you my vote, and I know people listen to me, if I'm going to give you my endorsement, you're gonna have to be there. It ain't gonna, because you're a Democrat, it ain't gonna fly with me no more. Because you're black, it ain't gonna fly for me no more. Like you gotta work hard to get my vote. Like that's just what it is. And because we have seen people get into those spaces and just totally turn their back on us. You know, and I think enough is enough, because if we're gonna wake up, we might as well totally wake the hell up. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just like the whole thing with DeAndre, just really, me and him talked for an hour. And again, I could have cried listening to his experience of running. I could have cried. Like I was so sad for him, because I'm like, wow, it's one thing from the other side of the aisle, but your own party? Like that's crazy. So I don't even know what to do right now, because the people that we trust and we identify, for me, when I identify something, that's why I shook my head, Derek, when you said something about that school in Gainesville. I don't identify as that. I'm a Florida State Seminole. I'm just like, if I identify with something, I'm going to identify for it to the T. And I identify as a Democrat. But it is hard to continue to walk around with that label when you get older, to see the things that's happening inside of our own party, because they don't even want to help, certain candidates they don't believe in or just don't even feel like it. That's unreal. So I don't know, man. This was a tough one. This was a tough night, for me, because it was hard to be on here to be quiet, because I don't want to mess up nobody's opportunity. I don't want to do that. I didn't want to make anyone's experience on our voices be uncomfortable on my account, because our voices is the big comfy couch. The only time I really get upset and make it uncomfortable, if you come talk to us like a country bumpkin, then I gotta let it. I gotta let it bless. I got ruffle your feathers then, because you can't come talk to the Panhandle Avengers like that. That's crazy. But I don't know, man, and I'm willing to, you know, sit down and talk. But sometimes when you see people running and you see the way that they move, and it's hard. It's hard to sit there.
Jermaine, we're gonna give you the last word, Derek. Derek, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said Jamil. Well, we are about 10 minutes over time, so I'm just going to say thank you to State Representative Angie Nixon for joining us this week. Safe travels to State Senator Chevron Jones. We hope that you can reschedule your time and maybe join us in a future broadcast. Thank you, Jermaine, Jamil, for joining us tonight. Again, you always have an open invitation, so don't let this be the only time that we see you. Pop in whenever you'd like. And we will see you all next week. Please don't forget the announcements as we've discussed. Black Voters Matter will be here starting Thursday. Reverend H.K. Matthews' funeral is Friday. If you'd like to ride the bus, contact Ellison Bennett or show up at the Doris Hair Healthy Hair Salon / the Escambia Democratic Party office and get on the bus and ride to Bruton. We will see you all next week. Same time, same channel. Have a great week. Stay safe. Those unregistered, please register to vote, and we will talk to you then. Take care, everybody.
Right.